Hi, I'm Billy Keels, the host of the Going Long podcast. Every week, I'm going to be here interviewing the absolute best in the business as it relates to real asset investing, as well as real Main Street investors. We're going to be having conversations where you can listen in, and that's going to help you to continue on your path to education so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident in investing long distance. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're liking it as well, because that way you can get every single episode as soon as it comes out. And by the way, don't forget to leave today's episode a 5-star review. Let's go ahead and listen to today's conversation. Welcome to the Going Long podcast. We're back once again to continue to help to educate you so that you feel much more comfortable as well as confident investing beyond your backyard. I'm once again your host, Billy Keels. And you know what? If you've ever wanted to know what it was like being fired from your family business to actually fueling the fire for so many in the real estate investing world, then this is the actual conversation that you're going to want to listen to the very, very end. You know why? Because today's guest not only has had multiple real estate careers over his more than 25 years in this space, he also has really been focused on family-owned businesses since the 1990s and been involved in family-owned businesses as well. And now today is really focused on engineering and transacting opportunities with his multiple students, even focusing on very specific kind of areas. So we'll talk a little bit more about that during the conversation. And over the last 17 years, which this is phenomenal, he has impacted the lives of over 30,000 students between the United States and Canada. And I really want him to talk to more about this. And he is the founder and CEO of Smart Real Estate, as well as the host of a podcast with the exact same name. I want to welcome to today's show, Mr. Chris Prefontaine. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thanks, Billy. Pleasure to be here, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm really, really looking forward to this because you're going to start out. You are the first guest from a specific area, and you're going to tell us a little bit about that here in just a second. But as you know, love to ask all of our guests the same 5 questions at least, and then we're going to really dig into some of the things that I talked about in the beginning. But Chris, Help us understand, where are you located in the United States?
Yes, the Rhode Island is the smallest speck on the map in all the states. It literally is the smallest. I can drive across it in about an hour. It is about 45 miles southeast of Boston, if you want the biggest reference there. And then I'm about 3 hours north of New York. So I'm in between.
Fantastic. So they're on the northeast side of the United States. So appreciate that and giving us 2 major cities, Boston and New York, to help everybody outside of the United States understand exactly where you are. And sure. Chris, what's the most positive thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours?
You know, we're sitting here on a Monday. We had we call it Smart Kickstart event, virtual Saturday. It went phenomenal. We had about 90 people on all day, and that's a lot for a Saturday. Yeah, it was awesome. Good energy.
Fantastic. So being able to, once again, positively impact 90 lives on a Saturday, I think that is fantastic, and being able to adapt to this, new reality that we're living in. So thanks for that. Listen, Chris, I mentioned a couple things at the top of the introduction, right? But I always love for you, and everybody wants to know from your own words, can you help us understand a little bit more about your own backstory and some of the different decisions that you made to get to this point in your journey?
Sure. So I'll go through and fast forward, and you can bring it back, Billy, to any point you want. Obviously, I grew up in a family company. That company had nothing to do with real estate. Right around 1991 or so, my father sold that company, and I started doing some. I never picked up a hammer or built a home in my life, but I had a partner that ran the field. I ran the kind of the sales and the financing. Led to buying a franchise in the realtor world. I put my realtor hat on for a while. I ultimately sold that to Coldwell Banker in 2000. It's a great experience. That, however, when I say great experience, led me to do some investments, some rehab, like almost every niche you could imagine as I worked my own investments. But that led up to the 2008 debacle, the 2008 crash. I called it a debacle in my book, but that was quite ugly. However, that's what got me to today, because of that pain we went through, we literally re-engineered the entire business to what I call buying on terms, which we'll talk about. And that's so post 08 was why and how we created this niche we're in now. And it's absolutely thriving, even despite what's going on, worldwide right now.
Wow. So, there's a number of different things we can take out there, right? And I talked about it. So being able to work in your family-owned business from the beginning, where you were actually on the employee side, I think you learned a couple lessons there. And then you've been able to also build your own businesses, sell those businesses to other larger types of organizations. And then from there, you talk about the sales and finance. Well, a lot of the people that we talk to here that are part of our tribe, part of our family, we all work in sales. So so that's a lot of things that we have in common. You talked about, being able to buy on terms, and we're definitely going to come back to that. But there are two things there's one thing that I want to highlight to everyone. You're also a best-selling author. You have 2 books at least, and I think there may be a couple more, but Real Estate on Your Own Terms, which I know we're going to talk about, and The New Rules of Real Estate Investing. There are other books as well, because I know you're constantly pushing out.
We co-authored one with Monica Sawyer, Real Estate Investing for Women, and that was also a bestseller. And we're working on our 4th that will surprise everybody with, forthcoming here.
All right, fantastic. So we will we'll wait to hear about that. So one of the first questions I was going to ask you is price or terms. Which is your favorite and why?
Price or terms, is that how you phrase it?
So I'm saying, would your preference in terms of a lot of us in the sales, right? We talk about, do you want your price or do you want your terms? So I know I think you have your own kind of tilt on this, but which would you prefer, price or terms? And then help us understand why.
Yeah, no, 100% terms. I don't care about price. Literally, I'm in a building right here and talking to you. It's our office building that we bought without a bank because the terms were right with the owner financing. So I honestly don't care about price as long as I get enough time, because over time, 5, 10 years, 20 years, I don't really care what the market does in the real estate world as long as I get that time to go ahead and stretch it out. Okay.
So you're a big fan of terms. I would tend to agree with you there. If I can get a building that's $5 million and I can pay you $1 a day for the next 5 million years, well, then I think that would be a pretty good thing. So let's dive into that a little bit. I mean, sure. As you talk about your terms, and I'm thinking about a lot of people that are really wanting to understand more about investing in real estate and are really busy in busy corporate jobs, and at the same time trying to figure out, yeah, this is something that I really like. And I've seen a number of things. I've listened to some podcasts, and now I'm watching Chris, and he's going to talk to us a little bit more about, terms. But what are some of the things that they should be looking for prior to getting to whether it's price or terms, just to help them understand?
Yeah, always motivation, Billy, because look, the deals are always about math. But if I know the motivation going into the deal, that then gives me something to fix or solve, right? All we're doing, like people say, well, how do you get people to do terms? And how do you get these longer dates? I don't, do you convince them? No. I just look at what their motivation is and I try to help them with that. It could be a goal, it could be pain. It doesn't have to be pain. But as long as we can do that, all the rest comes together. You're just solving problems and helping people. If you think of it that way, it's an open-ended deal.
Yeah, you know what? And I'm going to repeat that because just at the very beginning, you're dropping like crazy knowledge here, and it's very, very simple. It's about solving problems. And so real estate is another one of the vehicles that can help you to solve a problem that you are dealing with in your life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be moving away from a problem. You can be running towards something that you really, really love. And there are a lot of people that are in that case. So talk to us a little bit about your love affair with terms. Like where did it start, and how are you helping people with understanding more of the power of terms?
Yeah, it definitely started after the crash of 2008. So when that happened, the biggest pain in that process was banks, right? Being signed on personally, guaranteeing debt personally, which I would tell you don't ever do. And so the love of terms came out of that, saying don't use banks anymore, just structure everything on owner financing or lease purchase. In other words, my own terms. And never worry about that other stuff that got us in trouble. Never.
Hey, Chris, can you break that down for some people that may not understand when you say don't guarantee it personally? Because that may be excuse the pun, a foreign concept to many people, but help us understand what that is and then why you say, well, maybe don't do that.
Yeah. So in most parts, literally in most parts of the world, you are, when you take out a bank loan, going to sign your personal guarantee, your personal signature. What does that mean? That means if there's ever a problem with that loan or the property, they can come looking for you and your assets. So you just put your family potentially, or yourself, if you're by yourself, at risk for everything else that you own. And that's just a no-no. So I learned that the hard way in 2008 with about 23 properties signed on and guaranteed personally. And so we just don't do that anymore. Does that help?
Absolutely helps. And once again, there was a learning opportunity. And from that learning opportunity, well, you're now paying that forward to a number of other people, which is fantastic. I'm going to take a step back really quickly, Chris, because there is a there are a lot of people that are interested in knowing more about real estate, and they're talking maybe to a spouse, or they're talking to a brother-in-law or a brother or sister, and just really trying to figure this thing out. And I would be curious as to what your take is when you are looking in terms of investing with family members, and how you can also help them to really understand the power of what this specific real estate vehicle can do for them, because they're a little bit intrigued, but they don't necessarily know it. And there's a family bond there. It's not just talking to somebody else. Maybe talk to us how you help people deal with that.
Sure. I think there's two different avenues there that come to mind, Billy, just off the cuff. One is advice from a family member, and the other one is more to what you're saying, like, how do we get the right information in front of them? So the piece is simple. I don't care if it's family or not. You want to speak with people only that have already done what you want to do. Like, it's like going to a divorce attorney and say, can you go, get a building structure here for an agreement? It doesn't even make sense. So from an advice standpoint, don't do that. Just go to people that are where you want to be. As far as showing them the pathway to this niche, it's kind of the same thing. Don't you try to put them in front of someone or something. And these days, everything's free right on the internet. So if it's my niche or some other niche about apartments, put your spouse, your family member, whoever it is, in front of the proper information so it can be delivered right, versus you trying to, immerse yourself in it and then regurgitate it. It's almost impossible. I've been at this 31 years now. For you to try to regurgitate that's not going to be too easy.
It's going to be pretty difficult, actually.
Yeah.
So I love you keeping it real. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. So let's go a little bit into your niche, as you mentioned before, because this space is wonderful. There's so much information out there, but let's go into the area where Chris Prefontaine can help people understand. So talk to us a bit more about the area where you're typically helping your students continue to educate, so that those that are really, really interested and want to kind of drill down can start to take away some golden nuggets already.
Yeah, what's neat and what's good for everybody to know, because I know your listeners are dispersed throughout the world, and that is that, first of all, this niche, all we did, Billy, is take a bunch of things that I'll talk about and make into a system that, more importantly, we can support, right? Because there's so many people that could buy something, they get lost. Yeah. Okay, so it's been around, however, since the late 1800s. I was on vacation about a year ago up in Vermont, way north of here, and I was reading a book. It was like the Rockefellers, the Carnegies. These deals, what we call lease purchase and owner financing, they've been done for decades. We just, again, wrapped a system around it. So we help people understand how to get into the lease purchase world, get into the owner financing world, both of those called terms, and do so with little to no money. That's the key here. And so not only little to no money going into the deal, but not signing, like I said earlier, personally. So you're never taking bank loans, you're not doing any of that. Your structure is with sellers only.
Okay, perfect. So, and this is one of the things, one of a mobile home park that I actually owned was as a result of the owner financing option. So talk to us a little bit about these two things, because once again, a lot of people are really, really busy. They want to get into this niche, stressed for time, and they're trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I do things that are different? Because everything I've been doing up until this point, for whatever reason, I'm looking to do and create new alternatives for myself. So if you talk about lease purchasing, what is that a little bit, and kind of how can you give us at a 30,000 foot level why that would be interesting for someone? Potentially.
Yeah, and I like that you asked that first, Billy, only because that's an foray into this niche, because all our agreements with the lease purchase are built in $10 deposit, $10. That's it. So how does it look? Let's say that you're a seller. Let's go with that. And let's throw some numbers at this. You're a seller that owes around $250,000 on a home that's, say, worth $300,000. Let's give you some equity. Mm-hmm. So on a lease purchase, all I do, if you can wait for that equity, you're not someone that needs to go move that for your family to a new home tomorrow, because that person I can't help. But if you're someone that can wait and you want to max out getting all of that 50 grand out of that, here's what I say to you. Great. So Billy, on or before the term of the lease expiration, let's call it 3 years for the sake of this discussion, we're going to do two things. We're going to pay you your $50,000 locked in. You didn't have to mess with that. And then we're going to pay off underlying $250,000. Now the underlying $250,000 debt won't be $250,000 anymore. That accrues to me. Over 3 years, the principal goes down. You get your guaranteed $50,000. I get that pay down automatically to me. Now, in doing that, in the meantime, that vehicle of a lease purchase, you don't have to worry about it. So me as investor, I make the underlying payment on the debt. I take care of any maintenance and repairs, and the home is basically out of your hands. Now I pass that on to my buyer, which we can talk about how we exit later. But that, as far as you as a seller, that's done. Pretty simple.
So then for the seller perspective, you know that you're going to maximize the price, right? And
Right.
you're in as the buyer, you know that you're going to be able to provide them with the equity, which is the difference between the 300,000 and the 250,000. And then you are going to, and you didn't say this word, but and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to assume the debt that's already on the specific property or potentially. Is that right?
Little twist. You said it right, but little twist. So assume to a lot of listeners might mean, well, I went to the bank and I assumed that loan, meaning I signed on that. No, all I do is I make it on behalf of you. I make the payment to your bank. The loan stays in your name.
Okay. Love that. So you're not actually taking on the responsibility. However, you are making the payments on behalf of someone else. Perfect.
Correct.
So
only when I install my buyer in the home, by the way, so it's covered. I'm never taking on that burden and figuring out how to get out of it. I'm getting a buyer who needs time. They could need some credit fixing, some down payment saving, whatever. Time is very important now with COVID. A lot of people can't get the loans. Yeah. So once I secure that, then I start.
Okay, perfect. And just in general, right? COVID or not COVID, that time is one of the things, because if that same person, and this is why I love about you talking about solving problems, if that person needs to be out of the property in two weeks, this is probably not the strategy that's going to help that person, right?
Okay, very good question. Sometimes this is more advanced, but we'll structure deals where if there's some equity and they say, look, I got a hard stop and I'm not a brand new investor, I have some other deals going, I can commit to an earlier date. I'm going to get a bigger piece though. I'm not going to give them that whole 50.
Right.
So there's all kinds of deals after the deal and nuances here, but yes, you spot on.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Sounds great. And I think that gives everyone an idea, once again, because you're looking to help someone solve a problem. And so if any of the criteria change on solving that problem, then the terms that you're going to provide also are going to, or probably will need to adapt to that as well. Okay. So I think that helps everybody get an idea of what the lease purchase looks like. If we can give them an idea also too on the owner financing, what is that and why would someone potentially use that tool?
Okay, my favorite, first of all, and there's a lot of reasons why. We have a niche within the niche. So owner financing means a lot to a lot of people. To us, it means we're looking for free and clear property. These are debt-free property. The sellers owe nothing. That's about a third of the properties as far as in the United States. Yep. And I bet it's probably very similar around the world.
I want to repeat, can you please repeat what you just said? That not just the debt-free, but the percentage, because I think this is key.
Yeah, about a third of the properties. And I can give you with confidence the United States, but I think it's probably spreads, are free and clear. Now, that's probably surprising to some people. And if they needed their money out, really, presumably they would have got it out, right?
Right.
So they're usually in a financially strong position. They're usually looking, it could be ego, it could be whatever, but looking for top price, to which I say, perfect. Because what I'm going to make you monthly payments until some date we agreed on a balloon payment, 4, 5, 7, 10, 20 years. And every single month, I'm making principal only payments on 99% of our deals, principal only. So the market hedge you create with that and the massive principal reduction for 6-figure deals. And I can give you a metric and a formula if you want on that, but
please go.
Owner financing means this building right here, this gentleman was free and clear. He did not want to be cashed out. He was looking for someone to provide financing for. All that means is, for those that might be new, instead of going to the bank and bringing new money to the table and cashing out my seller said, I'll be the bank. You make the payments to me every month, and he's secured by a position on his old property, which I now own. So here's a formula for you, which is, I hope, an eye-opener. Any home, I don't care where old you are, if it's $200,000 or higher, and that's a lot of properties in a lot of areas, and it's free and clear, and you structure at least a 4-year term, you can get longer to be more profitable, but I want to be conservative. Mm-hmm. And you structure monthly principal payments of $900 or higher, you just created a 6-figure deal. The way we do the deals, we create 3 paydays per deal. We've trademarked that system. That's pretty strong deals per deal.
Wow. And so what do those 3 paydays look like? If high level, because I think that's very interesting. You're just not just one payday, means you're doing the work and you've created 3 paydays for yourself. So it's
key, because for a lot of years I built and then I sold homes as a realtor. You get to January and you go, oh man, I got to do all that again. It's 1 paydays. So the 3 paydays are like this. You're my buyer and you just need time. You just couldn't get financing right away. So you're going to put down your down payment that you planned on because you're a buyer. That's non-refundable. That's my payday 1. Payday 2 is the difference between me paying that underlying mortgage that we talked about, the $250 mortgage, let's call it $400. And then I'm going to collect from the buyer, you, $1,500. So there's a $300 spread for the whole term. That's now money, monthly money. And then third is the principal pay down in the price markup, because that's payday 3, very lucrative. Now I'll give you, these are not guarantees, of course, this is what we've experienced. Across the North America, we range our students a low of 45,000, all 3 paydays, all the way up to 250,000 per deal and above. Our family company sits around 75 grand. We're actually on a lower end of that, just price range wise.
Okay, so that's a nice spectrum then, between 45,000 250, and
talking pretty heavy per deal, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds nice. And once again, this is all going to be dependent on the terms and what problem you are helping the seller to solve.
Absolutely,
which I think is phenomenal. So, so thanks for helping us understand also too on the owner financing. Just out of curiosity, I mean, because I know my own experience. One of the properties that I mentioned before, the mobile home park, and there was I guess a lack of understanding and maybe some hesitance on the seller's behalf in the beginning, because it was kind of like, well, wait a minute, I've never heard of this. What's going on? And I guess, how frequently do you find that is the case, that someone who they may be really, really interested in owner financing because their property is free and clear, they just have never really heard of it, and they feel like, oh, this feels kind of scammy. How could this benefit me?
Sure. Here's what I found with free and clear, for whatever reason, probably because they're financially, did the right things. That's why they're free and clear. I find them being not only open to it, but having had some knowledge of it or experience. Literally, this guy who's told me this has owner financed a lot of things. He's a big landowner in the area. Now, for the people that have never heard of it, all I do is I point them to credibility, Billy. So like, we have a national group of investors. So if someone's brand new, they go, hey, they point them right to our national site. It's like an organization we have that gives them the credibility that they don't have yet as a new investor, because it's just you saying what owner financing is. It's how you say it with the confidence. That's all it is. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's just educate them. And if you lay it out properly, they get it in a big way.
Yeah. Usually there's like this massive light bulb that just goes boom. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's really cool. So appreciate that. And you've also talked about something that's really, really dear to my heart and to every single person that is watching us on the videos or listening to us as they're on the treadmill or running or whatever they're doing. And it's this whole concept of nationwide and going long. And what we like to say is investing beyond your backyard. It's something that's key. Help us understand, because I always love asking this question, like, why would someone who lives in Rhode Island even, number one, consider investing anywhere other than your 10-mile radius from your home? And then secondly, why in the world would you then try to take that all across North America and say, help other people to do that?
Yeah, a couple things come to mind immediately. One is lifestyle. If you think about it, like, you're sitting in Spain, you might say, you know what, a family member is in such and such location. I need an excuse to go ahead and be there more often and write it off. Well, that's a reason to have something going on there. I have one of my students in Boston actually now calling in Florida. Why? He sees himself living there eventually as sort of a retirement. So it could be personal like that, or it could just simply be diversifying, because frankly, in the radius you talked about, there's plenty of always. It's just a matter of where you might have connections, where you might want to be, or where you have boots on the ground to help you. There's no limits. COVID has made it very positive, bunch of positives, in my opinion, has come out of this catastrophe here, this chaos. But one of them is sellers are totally open to virtual, totally open. And in fact, they invited it. And so we're getting in a lot of doors that we maybe would have had a couple hoops to get through before.
So I appreciate you giving that really clear example, because that is one of the things that happens a lot of times is, I'm a really busy professional. I have people that live in different parts of the world. I'm interested in this area. I'm interested in this niche. And how can I actually design a life around it, or a portion of the life around an investment? So thanks for that. And then also to helping us understand the scope. One of the things I would love for you to kind of, as we get ready, because I know we don't have that much time left, but I'd love for you to talk to us kind of about how, when someone enters into your world, because I know you're doing something that's very unique, everything from helping people to understand more about your niche. You've got a really clear focus, as you were talking about the lease purchases as well as owner financing, but you go even beyond that. So you're helping to educate people in this space, and then you created a support system. So talk to us about, hey, look, what Chris is talking about sounds really cool, but how do I find out more about what the education is and how is this whole support thing? Because I'm busy, but this sounds really cool. Help us with that. What's that process look like?
Sure. So we're big on free. So anything I say, you can go dig into for free until you understand, or not understand, until you're passionate about thinking that you can dive into this niche, right? I'm not so naive to think this is the only niche, right? I'm in it because I think so, but that's not, it's not the case worldwide. So we have a simple.
Sorry, can I just stop you there? Because I do want to say this to my family here that are watching us and listening to us. I've been to your website. It's full of lots of very, very useful information, very practical information, and lots of free information. So, Chris is giving that he's telling you to do that. I'm also saying, look, this is something that you really need to do because he's going to talk to you a little bit more about it. And I've been to his site and it looks really, really nice. So sorry, go right ahead, Chris.
Thank you. So we do have a mission, as you and I were talking off air, to do transactions. That's what it's all about. It's not about here's our course. It's here's our course. Here's how you can connect with us every single week on Zoom. And oh, by the way, our mission is to do transactions. Let's get some deals done together. There's a big focus on that versus just selling you something. Too many people are doing that, in my opinion. So there's the base course online once you decide the niche is for you. And then after that, you can move yourself into group coaching or anything else that we do. And again, 90% of it's done on Zoom now. Like the big meeting we just had. And then of course we'll give some link at the end, but we can give them some more free stuff to go get their hands on.
So, and I think that's great. I am going to just maybe change one word that you mentioned. So I know you meant, because even the way that you just described it, you have a niche. You're very clear on what that is. You know that you're helping people. And yes, you want to create certain transactions. At the same time, you're really looking to build relationship because you have that entire support system for anyone that enters into your world, and you're helping them to get educated and developing a longer term relationship as you transact along the way. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, spot on, Billy, because like I think of the event we just had, right? You asked about the last 24 hours. Family, like we're family, sure. But I'm saying the community, we call the Wicked Smart community, they're family. Yeah. They help each other. They talk to each other in Slack. They call each other. They have side meetings. They really, really are close. I mean, some people were brought to tears just explaining their experience. So we want to provide and continue to grow glue, so to speak, in the community to help them. And it's not just real estate. Let me just insert this. I wish it was easy as here's the skill set, go do deals. It's not. The mental piece of this game is bigger than most think. And so all of Saturday, or a big part of Saturday, was how do we improve the mental game? How do we conquer 21 in the mental space?
Well, so you just hit on the mental space, and this may be one of the things, but since you mentioned it, one of the things I wanted to ask you, based on, your 30 years of experience in this space and really helping to educate people, I find frequently that there are a number of people that get really, really excited about things, but they continue to think about it and they continue to read more books and they continue to do whatever. I mean, I used to be one of those people.
Yeah.
And based on your knowledge, your experience, what is the thing that kind of keeps people trapped in this analysis paralysis state? And how do you help them get out of that?
I'll go in no particular order. Things that come to mind are things like, well, he can, but I can't. He or she can in that area, but in my area, no. It's too expensive. I can do it later. All these things that are like common thoughts for people to be holding back. We have a shirt that says life rewards action. It really does. It's energy. And so I constantly try to make sure that it's front and center in people's minds. And is there urgency, in my opinion? Yeah, there's urgency. COVID's going to be over soon, knock on wood. And there's an opportunity here for the next 9 months, in my opinion, let's say the next year, this whole year, to parlay like a decade of income if you do it right in 3 paydays in our case. Well, there is urgency. Let's get after it together. So just a side note.
Yeah. Life rewards action. I love that. So, and so that's one of the things that you will be able to continue to help people do. And you're helping see them as you create this relationship with them over the long time. And you're actually rolling up your sleeves. You're getting involved and active with each individual so that they don't just contemplate things, that they actually understand, get a base level understanding, and then get out and get out there and jump in and get stuff done. So, Chris, listen, you've helped to give us a high level idea. I want to keep talking forever, but I guess, you know what, we probably need to get into our going long final 3, which are the final 3 questions that I ask every single one of our guests. But the thing is, I never ask the question unless you tell me you're ready. So are you ready?
I'm ready, my man.
You know what? I knew you were going to say that. I had this feeling you were going to say you were ready. So the first of the final 3 is really, we started with where you are in Rhode Island, the first guest from Rhode Island, which is awesome. But I'd also love for you to share with the Going Long family, what is your favorite European city that you've either visited yourself or you're still on your bucket list to visit, Chris?
My bucket list is all about Italy still. I mean, we went to Venice once, my wife and I, and then that was actually during 9/11, now that I think of it.
Oh, wow.
But we definitely want to hit more cities when that becomes the norm again. No question about it. her family's from there, and I'd like to go back and really explore.
Okay, no, it's phenomenal. I used to live in Italy as well, so I lived down south. And maybe we'll chat about that a little bit when we're finished here. Awesome. So big shouts for Italy and up north. I know you mentioned Venice specifically, so that's probably what we'll go with. But I know you want to continue to get back and do some more visiting. So the other thing is, second question is really understanding about, and I guess every single person that is successful that I've ever come across has only made one mistake in there. Well, maybe not. Okay. Maybe they've made many mistakes, but the thing is aside from the mistake, right? You've probably made lots and lots of them, but if you can think of one mistake specifically, but more importantly, the lesson that you learned that could help our Going Long family to really get closer to their goals faster, what would that one lesson be that you would share with us?
Yeah. In a way, I know this book's written on, and it's probably an older concept, but to do this, live well below your means. During the market run before 2008, we were living our means, not below. So that was the challenge. And what happens is when you can do that, you save 50, 60% of your income in a year or two or three, your decisions are different. Everything is different because you don't have a steamroller behind you. It's a big change we made. And I encourage everybody to our view now, start at 2 and then go to 3, but get yourself up to at least 50%.
Fantastic. So being able to live at the level below your means so that you can do it in the short term so that you can then go ahead and blast forward in the longer term. So with that, and you kind of led to it, but and I know we talked about you being a best-selling author 3 times over, and we're going to make sure that those books are there included in the show notes today. But what book would you recommend to the Going Long family today?
You know what? This depends on what mode I'm in all the time, right? When I'm working on, but one that I love right now that's super easy and short is The Tao of Warren Buffett. And it's written by his daughter-in-law. She's written a few about him, but what she does is she puts a quote of his and then she comments on it because she knows his lifestyle. Pretty cool. And it talks everything from investing to timing to real estate to personal. It's pretty neat. Okay,
fantastic. So The Tao of Warren Buffett. And so that we're going to include that in the show notes as well. So listen, Chris, I mean, you've crushed it, man. This has been really, really informative, very, very helpful. I mean, even going back to being able to be in a family business, being able to see that, exiting that business, getting in, starting from on your own, building up your own personal business, then selling that over to Coldwell Banker, and then getting back into real estate, being able to niche down on the 2 areas that you really, really love. And then most importantly is getting out there and impacting so many lives positively. Just think it's phenomenal. And I'm sure that you've also given us some insight into kind of how you work with and your teams work with people, from the education to the onboarding to actually then getting into the trenches together. So I know that it sounds really, really awesome. And I know you have lots of real life stories that you can share with people. And I'm sure that there are lots of people like me that are like, Chris, man, I want to get in touch with you. You talked about this awesome website. There's so much information. So what's the deal? Help us understand, Chris. How can people find out more about you, your team, and your family?
Okay, so there's some quiet kind of due diligence. There's 2 areas I'd send you to. Just go to YouTube and punch in Smart Real Estate Coach. There's well over 100. Pretty cool. You have to really dig into how we create those 3 pages that we've trademarked. And the second is we have a free sort of a presentation that I'll call a webinar. But it's 35 minutes. So go through that. Those 2 things, you'll know if you want to dive deeper into the niche. If you feel like, or after that, definitely I feel compelled to get a call, we'll give you a free call. I know I'm putting myself out there with this one, but a free strategy call. There's only 3 of us that do them. Myself personally, my son-in-law, Zach, and our strategy expert, Brian. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action.
Awesome. smartrealestatecoach.com/action, where you can have the opportunity on that free strategy call with one of 3 people. And Chris, our wonderful guest today, is one of those 3 people. So listen, Chris, I just want to say thank you very much for investing your time with me and the entire Going Long family. It's been awesome, and look forward to continuing to see lots of success from you and your entire team.
I love it. You guys doing some awesome things. Keep at it.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris. And listen, to the Going Long family, I want to thank you once again for investing your time with Chris and I today. I mean, Chris has provided so much value. It's been awesome. He's helped you to understand more about lease purchasing. He's helped you to understand more about the area of owner financing. And I'm sure that he and I would both love to understand, what did you like about today's conversation? We'd love to get that in your written feedback. So go ahead and feel free to leave that there. Let us know what you'd like to hear more of. And you know what, while you're doing that, if you want to leave a rating that's a 5-star rating as well, you know what, we're going to take that. So that would be fantastic. And most importantly, share today's episode with 2 or 3 other people, because you can be that person that goes out and makes a positive impact on others, sharing Chris's content, helping them to understand how owner financing can help them and get to the lifestyle that they really want to be leading. And, I'm really looking forward to welcoming you back on the very next episode. And so until then, I want to ask you to go out and make it a wonderful, wonderful day. And until next time, thank you. Wow, don't you love hearing from top-notch experts in the field? When I was getting started, I really wish that I would have had access to such experts. And even more, I wish they would have given me like a really simple list of things to follow so that I could have gotten to my goals much faster and been much happier even sooner. So that's why I've created for you the 7 things that you should avoid in order to be successful in long-distance investing. And you can pick that up really easily by going to billykeels.com/7 things to avoid. And also, if you liked today's episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I'm looking forward to seeing you on our very next episode, so go out and make it a great day.